Okay, the video here is to help give some examples to what's written in the document on loading a new project into V1. We're using the checklist. The checklist you can see, you can open and preview in the intranet, or you can download it as you need to. So looking at the project summary screen, very briefly you're able to then choose your client organization from a drop-down box. You'd be asked to give the next number available. It'll list here what was the last number used, so you simply add 1 to that, and then that's the V1 number. You enter in manually the short project name, and you'd select from a drop-down box the nature of the project, the owner available from again a list of the Technopolis Group consultants, and likewise the project manager you'd select. And you'd select the office that is responsible for the invoicing and the base of the, if you like, the project owner typically. We don't use it, Technopolis, the win probability or status. That's for organisations that use V1 for their prospects. What we would do though is manually enter in the win date when we were told we won the project and when we start the project. And the end date is populated once we've done some of the planning later on in this process. Everyone is the setting for the security profile, and then in notes what we want to see is information about the expected invoice dates, the value for the offices if there's more than one office involved, as well as information that's going to the subcontractors. You must tick this box from the timesheet and expenses settings. Users must log time and expenses to a task. This stops people who aren't allocated to this project booking their time to this project. And then in the custom fields, continuing down, you would enter in the end date as per the contract, and when we finish the project you would come back and you would complete the actual end date. We want then, for track record purposes, some information, so the full project title, the formal title, and then the project abstract. And the project abstract is a free-form text box, and in that you would write information about the project context, the purpose of the project, what methods will be used. And when we finish the project, we'd look for you to communicate the headline conclusions or recommendations or the impact. And it would need to be written then in the past tense so that it can be then cut and paste into future track records when we're bidding for future work. Some more points then. The total project budget is the value of the contract from the client organisation. The Technopolis budget is the Technopolis Group share of that total project budget. We then have and that is not for the office, it's for the group. The contract number, and then further information about the nature of the project. So you're able in this position to highlight which is the policy domain, and you can see you can highlight any number of those. And similarly, we'd like some more information about the techniques that we're using in the project. If either the policy domain or the techniques that have been pre-populated here do not sufficiently cover what your project will do, you can then enter those in as a free-form box, and if we're seeing more and more of those techniques being used, we'll add them in as standard. Okay, so coming to the project team, you're now going to allocate the project, the consultants who are going to work on your project, and you've got them in a number. We've got them listed all alphabetically there, or it's possible to search for people, so you can add them. Click there, and then you can show your project team members only. You can see also here we've got a generic charge out guy, so if there are occasions that you're not sure who it is who might be working on a project, you're able to put in a generic consultant just for the purposes of facilitating the planning. And you can substitute that for the real consultant as and when that person becomes known to you. I'll show you how you can alter the rate for that person in the next part of this video. We then need to finally enter the information about the project contact, and again the way to do that, if your contact is already known to you, you know the name of the person, then you can search for the person from the contact database, highlight, and then you have your project contacts. Having completed the summary screen, we would then save that information, and we're going to move then to the rates. And here you are confirming that we're using the company standard rates, so those are the rates that were set by the office directors as part of the business planning, or if they are different to those rates, then you want to custom them for this information. and here we have the charge out rate, and what you'd simply then do is confirm you want to define the project rate independent to the current standard charge out rate. One more thing to look at is that sometimes your system will render in hourly rates, so the information might look a bit bemusing to you. You need to then confirm that you wish to work in daily rates simply by clicking there. Once you've decided you've got to custom your charge rates, you then click the person whose rate you're changing and you simply type in. So then you can determine the applicable users and overtype the amount that is the daily rate. And you would then save as you would do normally.